welcome back to our viewers at home and to you here in the hall. Thank you for your patience. While we were on break, we were joined by the candidate of the Labour Party, Dr. Ifeanyi Ubah. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, before we talk about or take questions on the opening statement of Dr. Christine Gige, who was talking about security before we went on break, let us take the opening statement of Dr. Ifeanyi Ubah. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Please kindly tell us why you want to be the governor of Anambra State come November 16th this year.
Okay. Well, in Anambra, Dalono, one of the reasons...
It would be nice if you could just, get up and address your people.
Oh, I can stand up?
Yes, please.
I don't know. Okay. One of my reasons for contesting for...
No, you can stay here.
Oh, really? Because I don't think you need to direct me.
Sorry.
Well, I want to thank you all first for coming to this event. I'm coming into Anambra State because of the situation of things in Anambra State. Looking at Anambra holistically, you discover that everything has gone bad in Anambra State. The insecurity has deprived us of a lot of goodies in Anambra State. And our business, for example, you can be in Lagos, you make the whole money in Lagos, and you can't even come to your state. 80% of our youths or our businessmen, they don't sleep again in Anambra State. And government is not working. We only see activities of government in the pages of newspaper. This is a state where the former deputy governor was kidnapped. Ransom was paid and he was killed. State where a traditional ruler was kidnapped, ransom paid and he was killed. This is a state where you can come out in a day and then you discover 47 bodies of youths in a river. And no one can claim or no one knows who, what brought about the lives of the people getting to that state. So this is our lives, and we need to come into Anambra to rescue Anambra. But the good thing I'm bringing into the table of governance is to set a standard, not only for Anambra, but for entire Nigeria. To get our governors to be working, to bring enterprise in government. That is why Ifeanyi Ubah is it. We are going to run a two parallel government. One is administrative government of the state, and one is business government. I'm going to head the business government while my deputy governor will take over the administrative structure. I will be overseeing as a governor. But the most important thing is that we need to segregate labor so that my deputy can run the administrative structure and I will take the business, because we need to create employment. We need to generate the internal generated revenue. We need to add value to the state by generating money for the state. We can't continue to sit after every 25 days we will have a federal allocation. I have a plan, a master plan, to generate above 10 billion every month in Anambra. And I'm the only candidate among all the candidates that can give you a straight analysis of how I can generate that money. So that is why I'm in Anambra State. We need to look at the values that we are losing. The capital flights we've lost to so many states. Looking today in Nigeria, our youths have been, our states, we can't even count any business that is thriving in our state. We are becoming they mock us all over the state, all over the country. This is Anambra that has produced so many people. People like Dim Odumegwu Ojukwu, Louis Ojukwu, Ibeto, so many people. Today we cannot count of any meaningful economic value that Anambra State has. The only industry that we have in Anambra State after 7.5 years is a brewery industry. And for me, Ifeanyi Ubah, I don't think I can sit in Lagos in my palace and be watching things going down. And that is why I came at this particular point to intervene. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ubah. Now, you will all agree with me that one thing we are agreed on is that security is a problem for Anambra State, or the citizens of Anambra State. Before Dr. Ubah walked in, well, before, just then. We're hoping that you will give very good reasons for coming late. We're hoping that that is not how you hope to run government. But before you came in, Dr. Chris Ngige was telling us about how he intends to beef up security in this state. He says that he's done it before. I want to believe that you all have your questions ready for Dr. Ngige in terms of how he intends to ensure that security is beefed up in this state and that you all can come home freely, especially considering that police, which is a key component of ensuring security, is still on the federal, on the exclusive list of the federal government. Questions, anyone?
My name is Major Kanayoka for retired. Sir, I'm talking to His Excellency Dr. Chris Ngige. You propose arresting idleness by creating comprehensive schools and schools that will train these people. And you are talking of another means of checkmating. You see, the gestation period for the training of schools for people to get employment takes some time. Even though we are aware, armed robbers, their days are not very long. You don't see any armed robber after that is above 40 years, because they normally get killed. Meanwhile, these ones that are already on, how do you intend to tackle them? Because I know that the police is helpless as far as kidnapping is concerned. Thank you, sir.
It's over to you now, Dr. Ngige.
I will always use English adage to talk. Necessity, they say, is the mother of invention. In 2003, 2004, my police security were withdrawn. Those attached to the governor and the governor's office. It was even extended to the local governments in Anambra State and all government offices in Anambra State. I put on my thinking cap. What do we do? That is how I established a vigilante services that comes up from the community level onto the local government level, onto the state level. I trained them in the conventional police method. And we didn't give them AK-47 because we are not by law permitted to give such equipment. But by law, we are permitted to give pump action. So we employed those people on these certification levels that I mentioned. And you were here in Anambra State. Robbery vanished. I also equipped the police, Nigerian police. Prior to my being governor here, the policeman in Oka could not communicate with the man in Onitsha, nor with the man in Nnewi. I had to give them funds. They purchased their radio system. And not only did we connect the three major towns here, I extended it to the border towns of Anambra State, at Ihiala, Amoka, at Iseke, at Omo, at Amansi. And the police were able to report to their headquarters in Oka and to their senatorial headquarters too on any crime situation. The robbers knew that their days were numbered. And to give the killer punch, I got some of the bad boys and employed them into the system. They recanted and started paying them. That's what my security vote is for. Today, security votes are used for frivolous reasons and for frivolous expenses. The cardinal function of government is to protect our citizens, number one. And if you're a state government, you must be able to secure your state. We don't care how you do it. Overseas and even in other climes, people are paid. Even when they want to track drug pushers, they put in good people into the system and they follow them and pay them. Therefore, there is nothing wrong in doing what I have enunciated now. This brings me to the idea of state police. When people hear state police, they like to run away. They tell you that native authority police were used for political reasons by Ahmadu Bello to arrest people in northern Nigeria, by Nnamdi Azikiwe, by Obafemi Awolowo in Ogbomosho and Ibadan. No, the times have changed. The times have changed. We must have a stratified police system stemming from the neighborhood, going up to the province or state, and then to national. You say maintain the national police. Because the truth of the matter is that as I speak to you, I'm a member of the Senate Committee on Police Affairs. I know what we appropriate for Nigerian police. I won't say it here for security purposes, but it's a paltry sum. The conditions, the welfare, the logistics for work, and the working equipment for the Nigerian police is nothing to write home about. You don't give what you don't have. You can't work miracles when you are not a good prophet. You can't do miracles. You can't even dream good dreams if you're not praying very well. The Nigerian police, as presently considered today, is incapable of providing security to everybody. And this is because they are poorly funded. Today, as we speak, 30% of police formation, 30% of police budget in the state formations are funded by the respective state governments. Today, as we speak, the National Council, the State Council of State, and National Economic Council have a proposal on the table for 2% of the revenue of the country to be used for the police by the respective states. So it's one of the things that have been agreed to by the governors, but the governors have to bring them back to their state legislature, the Houses of Assembly, to pass into law, because the money belongs to the people in the respective states. So I am saying, I can do it. I know what to do in Anambra State to protect all of you. I did it before, and I'll do it again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ndibo. Well, Dr. Ifeanyuba, you'll have a chance to, either fault what he said, or also give your own plan as well if you don't agree. But just before you do that, it is very important for me to read out the rules of engagement at this point. Yeah. Now, we ought to have done that at the beginning of the program, but we weren't sure how many candidates were going to turn up. The rules of engagement. Now, you're supposed to have 2 candidates for 2 minutes for an opening statement, but considering the fact that the other candidates are not here, you've also been allocated their own extra minutes. There shall be no use of foul language, either against the opponent or to any member of the audience. That also goes for the audience as well. You will also have an opportunity for rebuttals, which is different for personality attacks against your opponent. And when the time comes, you will be informed by myself. And inciting words or personality attacks will not be allowed. Are we clear on the rules, everyone? Oh, well, just before Dr. Ifeanyuba has his own chance for rebuttal, I want to know if there are any more questions on security for Dr. Chris Ngige.
I will answer.
Yes, please.
Chukura Okoye is my name. Ex-President General of the Broadly Union. If you look around here in Anambra State, you see that this thing is walking deep into our both communities and everywhere. My dear Governor to be, you spoke a lot about security. I would like you to enlighten us more about how all these things should be converted here in Anambra. I thank you people, Anambrarians. I say praise to God because there were some government that came in and devastated Anambra State. Chris Ngige, I praise you. You came in, things changed. I quite...
I'm afraid that you have to ask a question.
That's
what
true.
you have to do.
Now, my question is this, please.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Like robbery, kidnapping, Boko Haram, and some people who were deported from Lagos State then, how are we going to overcome all these difficulties? Because here in Nigeria and in Anambra, it is eating deep into our system, please.
That's for Dr. Ngige, right?
Yes, it's for Dr. Ngige.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Ngige, it's over to you now.
I think it is time for me to respond to...
Just a moment,
Okay.
Dr. Uba.
Well, Madam Moderator and my audience, I think the questioner did not catch me early. This is where I started. I laid a foundation of saying that I believe that prevention is better than cure. And I said that the crime situation is caused primarily by unemployment in the first instance. And because some people have gone into the crime situation of robbery, they have used proceeds of crime for flamboyant life, they graduated into the next scale, which is kidnapping. They don't want to stand in the rain anymore or in the bush in the night and wait for luxury buses or cars to rob. They now pluck and pick people.
Dr. Ngige, you have 1 minute to answer that question.
So,
1 minute more.
I want to give our youth job. And I want to face those who don't want to come and take my job, who want to live ostentatious life, ride big cars from kidnapping. I will face them head on. They are either driven out of my state or they are made to face the music of those who want to be here. By catching them and putting them out of circulation, we jail them and remove them, sifting the chaff from the wheat. That's what we are going to do. And I know your fears that, okay, the job will mature, it will take some time to mature. Yes, you're right. That is why we are going to apply both carrot and stick. We are going to do it pari passu, both prevention and the curative aspect of this journey or this business.
Thank you very much. Well, Dr. Ifeanyi Uba is raring to go. I know that you will have a rebuttal for Dr. Ngige. You can also, launch your own solution for security if you do not agree with him, and you can fault his as well.
There is, we have 2 questions I need to answer. The first is about insecurity, my plan. I sincerely believe that we need to go into digital solution for Anambra insecurity. There's no need of arresting people or paying hoodlums. You cannot continue to pay hoodlums with the state fund, even if it's for security fund. What security fund is meant is to upgrade and transform the security system of government. Because if you continue to pay, it means that we are feeding idle people. What we need to do is to network Anambra State. And I asked a question. We have almost all the network system, telecommunications companies in Anambra State. What are their contribution to Anambra State? It is time we ask that question. Because it's not just for you to come and then pay 200,000 per mast site for 10 years, 2 million naira, and then you are just there. You don't even look at the radiation issues, the impact, environmental impact assessment of the community, nothing. So we've not been benefiting from all these telecommunication companies. I am going into that line. I want to negotiate with them. That is what the Americans call the act of war. When you are equal, you negotiate. If you are weaker, you retreat. If you are stronger, you oppress. That's what I'm going to use. Please. That is what I'm going to use, and I'm saying it with the fear of God, with all sincerity inside me. We need to generate funds for the state. I need to see them in a table and tell them that they are making above 30 billion naira from a state where we are only getting 3.2 billion from federal government, and they are taking 30 billion out of our state every month. And I will give you a simple analysis of what they are doing. In Atlanta, Tampa Bay, in Tampa Bay, Florida, in America, we went for debate with APGA, and I said that there's about 6 million telephone users in Anambra State. The governor said it's about 4.6. Then I asked an average Anambrarian how much they spent on telephone every day. It ranges between 1,000 or 500 and 1,000. Then I'm giving a template of 100 naira. So at 100 naira every day for an average Anambrarian, 4.6 million telephone users, that comes to 460 million naira. And then I want to take it back from 460 million at 100 naira to even 400 million. And that gives us 12 billion every month. So you can't be making 12 billion every month from my state, and they are not contributing towards security challenges of my state. So what I'm going to do is that I need to integrate a new innovation, which is a walkie-talkie system and a GSM all in one. Because you can use GSM to call only one person, but you can use a walkie-talkie to network the whole community. And they need to give me a frequency line where every community will have its own independent telephone. And I'm going to use our youths, employ our youths in monitoring the walkie-talkie system. I believe if we network Anambra State, there is no need of armed robber operating or kidnappers, because before you push a button, the entire community is at alert. That is a prototype. Excuse me. That is what I'm going to use in Anambra State. And I pray that Anambra people will give me opportunity. By the time I implement this structure, it will be a saving grace for not only Anambra State, but for Nigeria. The taxi driver in America is using this system. When you get into any taxi in America, if you need that taxi, if you're looking for any address, the taxi can use his mobile phone to network all the taxis and ask questions, and you spend nothing. So if I have my own line, because like I say, act of war, if we are equal, we negotiate. If they don't want to give me the template, then I will go to integrate our own state telephone company, a CDMA line that has a dual purpose, CDMA and walkie-talkie. It means Anambra State will be generating above 12 billion naira every month. And it's enough for me to solve Anambra insecurity and solve our neighboring state insecurity. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Then I have the second question, sorry.
Just a moment.
The second answer to his question. He said, how do we avert this issue of Boko Haram, insecurity, Anambrarians being deported into Anambra? The single solution is to our business. If you look at 80% of Anambrarians that are not in Anambra State, what drives them out of Anambra is business. So what we have to do is to put up a concept that will force our people to come into Anambra. You don't need to fight about that, because if people are deporting our brothers because we are causing nuisance to other states, you need to take a challenge. What I want to do is to develop our own state port. River Niger can never be dredged. And I challenge anybody that can ever say River Niger will be dredged. But there is a reason for River Niger. River Niger is meant to provide sand for the rest of our development and water for us to irrigate our farmland in the north. What we are going to do is to create our own internal port, our own port from any of our neighboring states. By the time we create that port, we will generate business, which is the core line of our people, by creating our own inland container terminal in Anambra State. Like NPA in Lagos gives our youths, our traders, 6 days. 6 days.
About 30 seconds more.
Yeah, NPA gives us 6 days. I'm going to integrate 60 days moratorium for anybody bringing his business into Anambra State. By so doing, 30 or 40% of our traders all over the Nigeria will come back to Anambra, and we will make Anambra another Cotonou of this world. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've also heard him as well. If you have any questions on what his proposal for fighting security or boosting or beefing security will be, please just hold it, because we're about to take a break now. When we return, we'll have more questions. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.